Alrighty, howdy. This is going to be the editing breakdown of my UHC Stories episode based on this Ampersand Team of Two game, my first public UHC of 2021. Um, I don't entirely know how I'm going to edit this at the time of doing this, but basically, I just wanted to showcase what goes into making an episode like this. Um, so, the first thing that I want to point out is my script, which let me bring that up. So yeah, this script right here, basically what I do is I open up the game in just watch through the game kind of, skim through it. I mean, obviously, since I just played this game a couple days ago, I have a general idea on the flow of the game, how things happened. So basically, I kind of just start from there. I know that the important moments of this game, right off the start, are the moment where I trap Remy and Glory, or I hit Remy into the trap. Like that's one of the highlights of this game. And then the other one is the final blow on Snicket, where I'm the last one alive with all of the loot, and I basically win. And I mean, obviously, there's the climax where I just win the game, but I feel like the actual climax moment is when I kill Snicket because that's way more intense than the moment with the moment at the end of the game where I win against Shoyo, where I have like all the healing in the world and he's just at 2 hearts. So my focal points when I'm editing this are I want to highlight that moment of the trap and then the big fight that ends in just me alive. So I know that going into it. One thing that I do with these stories videos is that at the start of them, I always put a little funny clip. So if I go ahead and find, yeah, it's going to be right around here, where we are, yeah, right around here. Let me see. There's a name on Remy's like on surface above us.
Okay, let's just hold off on the kill until Remy's
He's
gone.
coming down here. I knocked him down.
Yeah, we got him in the trap. We got him in the trap.
So that moment right there is basically like the highlight moment. So I'm just going to take that, put that at the beginning of this right here, because I know that's the moment that I want to highlight. I've also already dragged in all of my overlay kind of stuff. So I have basically these are just my little assets that I use, and then I just drop the overlay in here, and we good. Let's see if I can. I can just do that. Yeah, get it in an even 15-second opening clip. That sounds pretty good to me. So it's gonna look something like this, and then I'll just drag that in there. Probably mute that for now. So yeah, let's just watch this. There's a name on Remy's like on surface above us.
Okay, let's just hold off on the kill until Remy's
He's
gone.
coming down here. I knocked him down.
Yeah, we got him in the trap. We got him in the trap.
Okay, so yeah, that basically just has the exact flow that I want. I'm sorry for the slow display up here. It has something to do with my recording settings, where it's just super laggy unless I create a proxy for it, which I might actually want to do, to be honest. I think there's an argument to be made that there's a couple of seconds of not much happening at the beginning here, where like I'm for the first like minute nothing is being said, so I think I can change that. So let's see, this might flow better. There's a name on Remy's like on surface above us. I definitely agree that flows better because we get right into the action a second in instead of 2 seconds in. It's just kind of an awkward silence that I want to avoid. There's a name on Remy's like on surface above us.
Okay, let's just hold off on the kill until Remy's
He's
gone.
coming down here. I knocked him down.
Yeah, we got him in the trap. We got him in the trap.
Okay, yeah, that works. I'm actually going to put an exponential fade for like 10 frames on here because there is that little audio spike. So yeah, now you can't hear that little piece of audio. So yeah, I think that's good. So yeah, the next step basically comes in. I've already done all the voiceover bits for this long ass script right here. If you're curious, this is about how much text there is that goes into it. Up to you to determine what you make of that. But I have all of the audio bits recorded over here. While doing these takes, I just was terrible, in all honesty. Like my speaking was just not up to scratch today. I'm going to unlink those, delete that. So now I just have all the audio tracks, and I'm going to label them in a different color. I'll label it rose, so now I know that these are my voiceover clips for the story itself. So now I'm going to go through the slow process of just getting it to flow together, basically. So yeah, I actually want to highlight something about this line right here. I delivered the gold, Mav delivered the diamonds. A nice pair. This is a line that doesn't really give any new information. It kind of summarizes what just happened. But these types of moments are important to have when telling a story, in my opinion, where you can't just be going at breakneck pace, just explaining detail after detail after detail. Because eventually you are going to need to give your audience some time to understand exactly what's been happening. So a line like that, where I summarize this little bit of the game, which is like our caving, basically, where I summarize this to kind of cause a break in the action, where there's kind of a way for there's like a way for progression to be enabled when you kind of sequence it out section by section. Because if you don't sequence it out, it is just going to be at a breakneck pace. And yeah, you're explaining the story, but there's no sense of like when the important moments are if there's no highs and lows. Almost like there needs to be a flow to it, and having like a little pause moment like this line here, I think, enables that. I delivered the gold, Mav delivered the diamond. Once again, here's another audio clip that I think is worth mentioning. Oh, and don't forget about Snakehead. He's gonna come back. So the thing about this clip right here, this is setting up expectations for further into the video. So by saying, don't forget about Snakehead, he'll come back, it's enticing you, the viewer, that he's going to come back, and that there's more to this story than just this one encounter with the person. So in reality, this didn't happen in this game, but let's say that I saw someone in my cave and it ultimately didn't matter to the story of the game, I would probably include it in the story anyway, just because, I found a player in my cave, but I decided that I wasn't going to pursue him because I didn't have enough gear or whatever. So be it. But in reality, that moment doesn't make a huge impact on the game itself. It doesn't really have a place in the arc of the story that this game of UHC takes. So in reality, I could leave it out. But for a moment like this, where like this is our first encounter with Snakehead, and we do encounter him like 3 or 4 other times later on in this game, it's another one of those things that's like story building. It's not telling you a specific detail of like, I found some diamonds, but it's setting up the story aspect. I notice a power 4 bow I picked up, switched it into my hotbar, and as Snakehead pushes me, I land the clutch final blow. Finally, after much chaos, crossfire, cross-teaming, and death, I was the lone survivor. The loot was all mine. This is another bit right here. It's one of those important moments for a story where you can like create a pause in the action to let the viewer process exactly what happens. Obviously, in a chaotic scene, you want to try and exemplify the chaos, which I think I did. But now that I'm the only one left alive at this point, the footage isn't showing it because I haven't edited the footage yet. But the audio is portraying that this is the end of the fight. So it's time to sit back, not entirely relaxed, but like let it process everything that just happened. Give the audience some time to, just process it, really. And now it is time to match the gameplay to the audio that I recorded. So really, there isn't too much that goes on with this part. It's just finding the best clips that match the audio that I described. So obviously, while I'm scripting this out, I'm watching through the game, so I know what happens and when, for the most part. So it's gonna happen in sequential order, basically, unless I do like a flashback bit, which I did do in one of my other episodes of UHC Stories. So yeah, at this point, all I have to do is just match up the audio. The beginning, the intro bit is going to be a little bit different. because it's more storytelling, background information. It's not really telling you anything about the game. So there's a chance that while editing this, I'm going to go record some footage in replay mod. We'll see. I'm just going to get to editing this. So yeah, I have this bin of music here, which these are all of like the audio tracks. This is from a site called Motion Array. It has a bunch of royalty-free music. So all of the audio bits that I like using for these UHC Stories episodes, I have in this little folder here. It's really not that big of a selection, to be honest. I have been adding to it here and there. But yeah, really, I just kind of take a listen to these clips, figure out which one best describes each moment in the game, basically. Okay, so yeah, this is Stylish Rock right here. This is an audio track that I really like opening with. I'm just going to move all of these audio bits back up here to this third track. So I'm gonna start this audio right here. I usually put the music around like -24 to -32 decibels, so that way it's not too loud, but still audible. Do you ever get so bored that you decide to play a public UHC? First, so the other thing is I'm going to leave this first clip without audio, and then I'm going to sync it up to where it kind of builds up, where the music builds up into this second line. UHC? For some people, probably not. I'm sure there's some of you watching this video that still actively decide to play public games. But for me, a Reddit veteran at this point, public UHC has mostly lost its touch for me. That's a story for another day. Now, I remember earlier I had this bit right here where I say, wow, that's weird to say about me being a Reddit veteran at this point. But given the music, I don't know if it matches. Lost its touch for me. Wow, that's weird to say. I think I'm just going to cut this bit out. I'm going to probably leave it in this editing breakdown video, but in editing, this is one of those things where like you record audio that you think is a joke or something funny, or just basically you record audio that you think could work, and then you get to the editing stage and realize it doesn't work. So instead of trying to force it to work, maybe it's better to just remove it if it doesn't work. And I think removing it is just the right thing to do in this situation. I'm going to raise the decibel level of all of these clips to +2 because I think the audio bits aren't loud enough by default. Here's another thing. I have realized that there's a nice bit where I can like sync up the music a bit, so I'm going to move this audio over actually. 2021. Right here, the audio kind of right here on this beat, so I'm going to sync this up. Ampersand is a bit of... So instead of this, of 2021, Ampersand is a bit of a classic server. It will sound like this in the actual video of 2021. Ampersand is a bit of a classic. Just that little change actually just makes a huge difference in my opinion. Here's something interesting I'm going to point out. There is more music to this clip, but based on that I did the voiceover for this section as if the music is going to end right at this point. So that's exactly just what I'm going to do. I'm going to extend this audio so it kind of just fades out right here. UHC experience. And then I'm going to start the audio anew right here. Yeah, this audio bit is actually a little interesting. Real quick.
Yeah, I killed 2 people.
I got a pearl. Interesting.
Oh!
I think this is one of those moments where I'm going to, in between the story bits, I'm going to throw in some of the actual in-game audio. I think it's nice to kind of have that balance. So you get some aspects of like the raw commentary of in the moment versus my analytical perspective after the fact while I'm editing here. Okay, so yeah, I kind of want to just do a quick recap of what has been done so far. So basically, all that I've done at this point, since putting in this clip here of having in-game audio, is literally just matching the clips to what I said in the audio.
Oh!
Nothing else super interesting happened. Right here, the focus of this bit is finding the 2 spiders. Find the 2 spiders. This clip right here is showcasing that I have to cross a river to get the sugarcane. I came over and grabbed it before digging down. This is, it's showcasing me mining the iron before I get to the gold. It's really just that simple of just placing the clips that are important. I guess the only interesting bit is when it comes to this lava ravine where I find a lot of gold, and I say it nearly doubles the amount of gold. That's from me mining 3 veins of gold. And I have to show them in pretty quick succession, so I can't show I can't show every single ore being mined. I just have to showcase that I'm getting a lot of gold here, and the best way to do that is to just show bits of every ore vein that I mine. The lava ravine loaded with gold, more than doubling my total amount in just under a minute of exploring. Drag this. I don't use any of Mav's footage for most of the game, but I am going to use it for parts of it at the very least. Because there are moments that are better told from Mav. From Mav's perspective, so I'm glad that he sent me over his footage so I can use it for certain bits. Okay, so here's something interesting. So this is the end of the caving bit, and once again I have extended music. Luckily for me, this Young and Brave track has different length variations, so I'm going to try out a different length variation. Chance, and later found 3 more, which, in combination with the 2 that I found, was just enough for a diamond helmet. I delivered the gold, Mav delivered the diamonds. A nice pair. So yeah, I think this length works out a lot better. I may just need to try and cut out a little piece of audio somewhere. So yeah, what I did is I tried to shrink the amount of audio in between some clips. I cut out like 7 frames in one of these clips here. I think I can do it over here as well somewhere. Dark oak, which I killed for an ender pearl.
Yeah, I killed 2.
I got a pearl. Interesting.
Oh!
I can probably cut out those 8 frames right there.
Oh!
Nothing else super interesting happened, and that's going to make my music sync up just a little bit better. It was just enough for a diamond helmet. I delivered the gold, Mav delivered the diamonds. Oh, also, Mav blew up to a creeper, which is pretty funny, so here. So yeah, when the music fades out, that's a good indicator for me to try and incorporate some sort of a funny moment. So it just worked out quite nicely in this situation, that I was able to get the music to match up with the audio pretty nicely. And it lets me put in one of these funny audio bits without any music. So that way I can let there be a little bit of a pause in between this and the next section and start out with something new. So this next section is going to be Mav and I meeting up, heading to 0-0, and the trap moment. So this is when things are going to get interesting. So this is another one of those funnier bits here where I have this funny line from Mav.
Let's just roll the first game of the year.
Which was kind of said sarcastically, and it matches up pretty nicely with this little break in the music. So, off we went.
Let's just roll the first game of the year.
We arrived at the clear. However, in order to make it last, I did have to do this little cut in the audio. I would have liked to have not done that, but I still think it works fine. And so, off we went.
Let's just roll.
Actually, it might be better if I do that. So, off we went.
Let's just...
Off we went.
Let's just roll the first game of the year.
So, I just want to explain something here where when I'm showing the clip of this fight, how do I pick the start point and end point? Because really there's a couple different ways I could go about this. There's a name on surface. Remy's like on surface above us. So, I could weave that clip of like me first pointing out Remy above us right at the start of this audio clip, but I'm going to choose not to because I already explained that in the audio that I noticed Remy and we're ready to pounce. So when I say that right here that I'm ready to pounce, then it's going to cut to the audio. He's coming down here. It's going to cut to the audio where it says he's coming down here, which perfectly lines up with exactly what I want it to say, where we're ready to pounce, and then it says, oh, he's coming down. The transition from my post commentary of the story to my in-game audio flows very nicely there. And then when it comes to the end point after we're done killing, that's so good. We have there's 2 different ways I can end it. I could split it right here, where I just created a cut after the big laugh fest. But then there's also this bit of audio. I can't believe it, bro. Where we say it worked, I can't believe it, bro. And I'm going to leave that part in and mute the rest of this because my next audio bit is going to say, we have never trapped a day in our life before. So I think leaving in that bit of like, I can't believe that worked, I think adds to the post-commentary effect that I chose here. Here's a little detail that nobody is probably going to notice, but something I think is pretty cool in editing. I noticed that while digging down, the pickaxe, we're both digging down at relatively similar angles. So what I did is I tried to make the animation of the pickaxes line up a little bit. Just a little like it's little things like this that I think can make a big difference in videos, even if they aren't super noticeable. I do think there is some value. Like the timing was not perfect when I first tried doing this edit. I'm not gonna readjust it to make it wrong now that I have it right in the editing process. But just know that like these are small changes. These are small changes that you can make to like try and make your videos better. Good editing, I forget where I heard this quote, but a good edit is not noticeable. If your editing is so good that you don't really tell like when there's a cut, like the transition between cuts is so smooth and not harsh, like that's the sign of good editing. And I think this is just like a small example of it that really doesn't mean much, but something I wanted to point out. All right, so here's something that I want to point out about music choice once again. So this clip right here starts out with, however, when I get to the surface, I find this random solo on my way to Mav. That's a suspenseful moment. When I start with the word however, that's creating suspense. I ended off the last scene with, I'm going to start heading off to Mav. But when instead of saying I meet up with Mav, I start with however. So that indicates that something went wrong in a sense. So that's why I'm picking a song that builds up in a suspenseful way, like this. However, on my way to Mav, I found a solo in 3/4 diamond armor. Jakekub was intimidated by my appearance, not realizing that I was alone for the moment. Okay, so I've made some progress, as you can see here. I want to pick one thing out, the music choice that I made here. We engaged with a mid-range bow fight for a while, trading hits, draining healing. So this song right here, Down the Mountain. In honor, it has the high tension rock sound that I like. And I think fits fights like this pretty well. So that's why I went and picked it. I had a couple of other tracks. I can play them real quick. There's that one. And there's that one, and then there's one more which I can't play in my music player, but it works in Premiere. But the reason that I went with this one is I felt that the other two were too cinematic almost. I didn't really want a cinematic sound for this type of a fight. I wanted a chaotic, high energy sound. And there is a difference between cinematic versus intensity, I guess you could say. I don't feel that cinematic works unless it is in a situation that is truly cinematic, where I think there's an argument to be made that I could have used cinematic music given that this fight ends up with me on literally just half a heart. I think there is an argument to be made that a cinematic track would work here, but for me personally, the sound fit the soundtrack of the fight more than just using the cinematic sound for that one moment. This is another moment right here where I have this line kind of trying to portray the two different aspects of this fight that are going on, because this is like a multi-angle fight where things are happening very quickly at the same time, where I'm getting shot by Jakekub through the lake and Mav is handling Normo at the hill. So I'm trying to display both of that. But what I'm realizing is that given how fast this fight goes, I don't have enough time to be able to play both clips. So I'm just going to let this play out. Getting me nearly stuck in a lake as Mav handles Normo at the hill. As I finish crossing the lake, I see Normo desperately block jumping away. In his desperation to run, I land a crucial bow shot, alerting me to a 7% health. There's just not enough time. Like, even that, like, I'm not even, like, at the point where it says, and then I pearl in on Normo and I kill him. And I'm already a couple seconds past killing him. So I need to play this very carefully how I put these clips together in order to make it match the audio that I had put together here. So I think it's in my best interest to remove this clip here where it says Mav is handling Normo at the hill, because it transitions just as fine into me just saying this. As I finish crossing the lake, I see, because it's talking about me crossing the lake, and then as I finish crossing the lake. This extra line adds some more detail, but it's ultimately unnecessary, and it's small. It's once again small things like that that I think can make a difference. I think I'm actually going to do it again here, where I have this big line where it says, in his desperation to run, I land a crucial bow shot. Where I land a crucial bow shot. This entire, like, see, this is 21, like, this is like 4 seconds of audio for a clip that happens in 1 second. And given how fast this is all happening, I don't have time for it. So I think, again, I'm going to have to cut out this audio. Block jumping away, to which I make a move in no hesitation. hurl on him, and kill him. Yeah, I think that works better, just like this. Getting me nearly stuck in a lake. As I finish crossing the lake, I see Norma desperately block jumping away, to which I make a move in no hesitation, hurl on him, and kill him. And once again, it's the same thing where I have this line here where it says, I'm at 1.5 hearts to try and create the tension. You can see that I'm very low health here. This fight is just moving way too fast where I don't think I can afford to include it. In this moment, Mav pushes in for melee, getting him down to 2 hearts, but dying in the process. The cool thing about what happened here is that the music actually basically just lined up totally perfect. What I realized is that these 2 audio bits were supposed to play together if I mute this track right here. Clutch final blow. Finally, after much chaos, crossfire. So these 2 bits were, it's basically I land the final blow and then finally we're into some chaos, but I realized that there's this nice little audio bit here. Final blow.
Nice!
I have 4 golden heads on me, and there's pot stuff here. Holy
Let's go,
shit.
Jade!
10 gaps as well. So I think that just kind of adds a little bit of context to like the reaction of the moment, like the holy shit moment, basically. And then I'm able to delay this audio just a couple seconds, and it lines up perfectly with the end of the song. So you'll like to see it. All right, so at this point, I have finished basically the rough cut of what this video is going to look like. All of the blank spaces. I haven't done the intro yet. But that's going to require some replay mod cinematics that are going to take some more time. But all the other open areas in this bit are when I'm going to do the replay mod cinematics of just like me kind of looking into the camera, which is a feature that I had in the last episode, the Leather Quest. Something I did in my 2020 year in review video as well that I really like. It works nice for moments of dialogue where it doesn't there isn't gameplay footage that relates to it, but it's still important to tell. That's basically why I have the replay mod cinematics, where it's basically you're just looking at my face in a Minecraft terrain. It's mostly for those clips where there isn't any good gameplay footage to correlate to it, but it still is good dialogue for the story. And now I'm at the point where I'm just going to be rewatching this to make any minor cuts, any minor changes before filling in all the holes at this point. All right, so I want to explain this little sequence here where I'm explaining the scenarios, because this is kind of something that I did in my Leather sequence, or Leather Quest UHC Stories as well, where I displayed how mystery teams work and that it was no 0-0. So this is basically just me going in replay mod and finding ways to represent the scenarios by myself. So the 3 main scenarios that I'm highlighting here are beta zombies, rewarding long shots, and bleeding sweets. Now, really, I don't have to mention beta zombies. I never showcase me killing a zombie in the rest of this video, but I figure it's worth mentioning, like, all the scenario. I don't know. I just felt like doing it for this case. So I use this scene here where I'm just doing dialogue that doesn't have any gameplay footage attached to it. And then I went into replay mod and recreated 3 other sequences that represent beta zombies. So for beta zombies, the zombies drop feathers. So I showcase a scene of me killing some zombies. Now, because I'm doing this on my own, I would have to probably change the texture of rotten flesh to a feather in order for this to actually work. So I avoid showcasing me actually killing the zombie in any of these sequences because it actually drops rotten flesh. And I don't want to show that. That's a little bit nitpicky detail. I don't feel like anyone would really get at me for it, but it is something that I wanted to point out. So I have this scene with the zombies. This is all done in replay mod. If you want to learn replay mod, go do it yourself. I'm not going to teach you unless your name is Shy Gus. And then we have the rewarding long shot scene. What am I doing? I am just taking long pot shots into the distance. That's all that's going on here. Really not that complicated. And then last but not least is bleeding sweets, where it's basically just a bunch of player drops. So that's all I did. I just dropped a bunch of items on the ground, found a neat camera angle, put a little bit of motion on it. That's really all it is. The reason I use replay mod for this is because A, I'm able to get footage of myself a lot easier, and B, I'm able to get much cleaner camera movement, camera angles. So yeah, that's all this sequence is really. Okay, I guess I'll spend some time explaining these shots here. I explained why they're there, but I sometimes do like scale-ins and stuff like that, so I'm going to quickly explain that like that's really just used to create emphasis on certain words. So like this scene here, I'm pretty sure Snicket's going to come back later. Skill level. Oh, and don't forget about Snicket. He's going to come back. So having that zoom in on he's going to come back adds a lot of emphasis on it, on top of dramatic effect of the audio itself already. So really, whenever I change the proportions of the scale of these dialogue clips, it's just to create emphasis on certain words. Because if it's just one camera angle, like if it's just this angle that's sitting out right here for the entire shot, there's no emphasis on anything. So as a viewer, at least for me, I interpret it as the viewer isn't going to be as impacted by the dialogue that I created here when I want it to create a specific impact. So, all right, so the video is not done as I'm saying this. I still need to throw in 2 clips here, one of the ampersand calendar and one of old ampersand footage here, but the rest of the video is done at this point. So if you enjoyed this video of breaking down how I edited this UHC Stories video, let me know. I probably am not going to be doing any more of breaking down a UHC Stories video, but if you want to see me like breaking down an intro, I know I did those years ago at this point, but if you want to see more of what goes through my mind while I'm editing videos, feel free to let me know if you found this useful, if you enjoyed it, whatever. That's going to be it. So yeah, thanks for watching.